外国媳妇儿零彩礼杀进中国，有人急眼了。
Foreign brides with zero dowry are sweeping into China, and it's causing a stir. Why? Because they don't want cars, they don't want houses, they don't want dowries, which, in the eyes of some people, is simply ruining the market. Some Russian women, for not asking for a dowry, have even been heavily criticized, accused of disrupting the market. Many male compatriots have spoken up, saying foreign brides, especially those from Southeast Asia, are hardworking, have few demands, and are genuinely suitable for settling down. In China, especially for rural young men who want to get married, dowries worth hundreds of thousands of yuan, along with cars and houses, often drain their entire savings, making it impossible to afford marriage. Marrying a foreign bride is both a necessity and an escape. However, many women oppose the introduction of foreign brides, claiming that language barriers and cultural differences will inevitably lead to conflicts. They argue that men should not just be looking for bargains without considering whether they are truly compatible. Thus, Chinese men and women are in an ongoing heated debate. But despite all the arguments, the reality is that marrying foreign brides has become a major trend. In 2018, the number of Chinese men marrying foreign women surpassed the number of women marrying foreign men for the first time. In 2019, 29,000 men married foreign women, 10,000 more than women marrying foreigners. In 2020, 10,504 men married foreign women, while only 7,137 women married foreign men. This means that nearly 60% of cross-national marriages are men marrying foreign women. In Guangxi, the situation is even more exaggerated. 92% of cross-national marriages are local men marrying foreign women, most of whom are Vietnamese brides. There's a saying in the area, "Can't marry a local woman?" Here come the Vietnamese brides. They don't want dowries, don't want houses, and can handle the kitchen and living room. Why? Because the average monthly salary in Vietnam is only around 2,200 yuan. For young men in China who earn less than 10,000 yuan a month, the local matchmaking market may not be competitive, but for these Southeast Asian women, a salary of 5,000 yuan is a downgrade, and marrying a Chinese man is a substantial improvement in living standards. They don't care about dowries, cars, or houses. As long as they like each other, they are eager to marry Chinese men. Not just Southeast Asia, women from Russia and other countries are also flocking over. Did you know? Chinese men have a very good reputation internationally. Foreign women find Western men too forward, Japanese and Korean men too chauvinistic, and Middle Eastern men are even worse. Chinese men, hardworking and caring for their wives, are practically the dream husbands. They just follow one rule: if you treat me well, I will follow you. In Russia, if the couple is compatible, the bride's parents may even buy a house and car for the groom, simply because they see him as reliable, and they have no regrets after marrying. Now, let's take a look at our own market. Recently, a matchmaking event in Hangzhou gathered thousands of people, mostly women, with very few men. In some areas, the gender ratio in matchmaking events has reached an extreme 140. For a man to find a match, he has to gather people from all over, or else the event can't even start. Why? The reality is too harsh. If you don't have an annual salary of at least 200,000 yuan, even the matchmakers won't pay attention to you. Some women, who earn only 3,000 yuan a month, have no car, no house, and no savings, still criticize men who earn only 30,000 yuan, saying their earnings are too far from their dream of a mansion, luxury car, and a million yuan salary. In this environment, how would you choose? Discuss.
This issue has already sparked heated debates online. Many Chinese women believe that foreign brides coming to China with no dowry are disrupting the market. Others argue that this is a realistic choice. After all, the pressure of tens of thousands of yuan in dowries, along with cars and houses, has already caused many ordinary families to give up. However, debate aside, the reality is that the proportion of Chinese men marrying foreign women continues to rise. Let's look at the data. Since 2018, the number of Chinese men marrying foreign women has exceeded the number of women marrying foreign men. In 2019, the proportion of men marrying foreign women reached 60%. By 2024, the number of cross-national marriages increased by 23%. I have a strong feeling that the domestic marriage market will soon experience a major reshuffle due to the influx of foreign women. Where is the Chinese marriage market heading? Let's continue reading.
为什么中国男人开始热衷于外娶？
Why are Chinese men becoming increasingly interested in marrying foreign women? One reason is the high cost of dowries, along with the requirement for cars and houses. If you don't have money, don't bother. The other reason is that foreign brides don't require dowries. Chinese men are gradually waking up. It's not that they can't afford domestic brides, but that foreign brides offer better value for money. In the past, cross-national marriage was mostly about women marrying foreign men. However, in recent years, the proportion of Chinese men marrying foreign wives has skyrocketed, and the situation has completely reversed. In 2018, the number of Chinese men marrying foreign women exceeded the number of women marrying foreign men. By 2019, 60% of cross-national marriages in China were men marrying foreign brides. In the past, marrying a foreigner meant moving abroad to enjoy a higher material lifestyle. But friends, things have changed. Over the past 5 years, the number of cross-national marriages in many Chinese provinces has surged. While it was expected in Guangdong, Guangxi, Fujian, and Yunnan due to their proximity to foreign countries, now even inland provinces like Hunan, Anhui, Jiangxi, and Hunan are experiencing explosive growth in cross-national marriages. For example, in Anhui, the number of cross-national marriages increased sixfold in just 3 years. What exactly has happened to make Chinese men prefer foreign brides, who have different languages, cultures, and lifestyles, rather than marry local Chinese women? What are these men thinking? Over the past few years, the domestic marriage market has become so distorted and suffocating. Now, if an ordinary girl wants to get married, she can have nothing, but if a man has nothing, she won't even look at him. Men now need to have a house, a car, money, education, looks, and income, all to meet the standards. On top of that, with the endless toxic soup from the internet, it seems like everyone is expected to earn millions of yuan or have several properties, making many women feel that dowries of hundreds of thousands of yuan are as easy as breathing. The internet has exaggerated the living conditions and environment of ordinary people, pushing lifestyles that don't belong to them into their daily lives. In reality, if you are 1.78 meters tall, earn more than 10,000 yuan a month, and look average, you are quite rare. But online, you are considered a loser. No house, no car, and you're automatically filtered out of the matchmaking market. In first-tier cities, having a house and car means what? In cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, a house easily costs several million yuan, and a car is at least tens of thousands of yuan. Those who have houses and cars, whether through their own efforts or family support, are no longer ordinary people. You not only need a house and car, but also money. What are dowries like in China now? In some rural areas of the northwest, a dowry of 300,000 yuan can put a whole family in debt for 10 years. In Puqian, Fujian, some dowries have even reached 2 million yuan. It's no exaggeration to say that in today's domestic marriage environment, anyone willing to marry for love is a true warrior. Even if they meet these requirements, men still have to shoulder the responsibility of supporting the family after marriage, making money to support the family while also managing household chores and fulfilling the expectations of a modern man. Salaries are handed over, property is split, and high dowries are paid, all this just to maintain a relationship. In recent years, men have started waking up. After all this effort, what do I get in return? So for many men now, instead of spending huge sums to find a woman in the domestic marriage market, it's more cost-effective to turn to the overseas market with no exorbitant dowries. Southeast Asian brides are thrifty and home-oriented, while Russian and Ukrainian brides are beautiful and bring dowries. It's said that cross-national marriages don't last, but looking at the data, it seems the divorce rate for cross-national marriages is even lower than that of domestic marriages. Cross-national marriages offer Chinese men another possibility. It's time for older women still dreaming of the dominant CEO fantasy to wake up. Marriage requires mutual understanding and support, not constant calculations and fears of being taken advantage of.
我有一种强烈的预感，我觉得国内的婚恋市场马上会有一场大洗牌。
I have a strong premonition that the domestic marriage market will soon undergo a massive reshuffle. I just saw some shocking data. In 2024, the number of cross-national marriages in China increased by 23% compared to the previous year, with 70% of foreign women marrying Chinese men. Now, it's not just provinces like Yunnan, Fujian, and Guangdong, which are close to foreign countries. Even inland provinces like Anhui, Hunan, and Sichuan are experiencing rapid growth in cross-national marriages. In the past, when we talked about cross-national marriages, we mostly thought of Chinese women marrying foreign men. But since 2018, the number of Chinese men marrying foreign women has surpassed the number of Chinese women marrying foreigners. And this trend has continued to grow year after year. On one hand, it's because our country has become stronger, and compared to Japan and Korea, Chinese men are more respectful toward women, making foreign women more willing to come. On the other hand, the more important reason is that the domestic marriage market is now too competitive for men. The situation now is that a man with average conditions has a hard time finding a match with a woman of similar standing. Not only do they expect men to buy houses, cars, give dowries, and provide emotional support before marriage, but they also demand romance after marriage, with wages handed over. If any of this is done wrong, the man faces constant criticism. Compared to this, marrying a foreign woman is truly a low-cost, low-effort, and highly satisfying option. In any case, the simp economy has completely collapsed. Society is now cracking down on high dowries and criticizing gold-digging women. So, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what kind of new marriage culture will emerge in our society. I remain optimistic, believing that no matter what, we will never stop pursuing happiness and a better life. It's just that the shift in models and views will take a little more time.
Friends, we have to face a reality. In 2024, the average bride price in China has exceeded 120,000 yuan, with Jiangxi, Fujian, and Tianjin ranking among the top three. Jiangxi alone, 125,200 yuan, has become the most expensive province in the country. In places like Zhejiang and Heilongjiang, the bride price often ranges between 150,000 and 180,000 yuan, and in Puqian, Fujian, there have even been cases of a sky-high 2 million yuan dowry. When you include the cost of a house, a car, and the traditional gold gifts, many men must spend 5 to 10 years of income just to afford a marriage. When a marriage market turns into a one-sided game of resource exploitation, when men are expected to empty their entire savings or go into debt for 10 years just to get a marriage certificate, they naturally start to walk away. In contrast, women from Southeast Asia, Russia, and Ukraine don't demand extravagant dowries. They value partnership and respect within marriage. This isn't about worshiping the foreign. It's simply the market reflecting a clear imbalance between supply and demand. We're not against the tradition of dowries itself. It was originally meant to symbolize sincerity and respect for marriage. But when the dowry evolves from a gesture of goodwill into a price tag for love, the custom loses its meaning. Today, marriage registrations in China continue to decline, and this drop, along with a shrinking birth rate and workforce, will inevitably reshape the country's social structure. When that time comes, even those who insist on high dowries may find there are no men left to marry. The essence of marriage should be mutual support and growth, not one side going broke while the other raises the price. Instead of complaining about why men are marrying foreign brides, maybe it's time to reflect on what drove them away. Human nature seeks benefit and avoids harm. If domestic views on marriage don't change, then 5 or 10 years from now, cross-national marriages will only become more common. Those who cling to sky-high dowries will eventually face a future with no one left to marry. The marriage market never believes in tiers. It only follows the law of supply and demand. All right, that's it for today's video. If you agree with my point of view, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.